Greetings to all. Welcome back to online classes. I hope you prepared very well for the examination. That is one small 25 mark test. Okay. And today we are going to learn the lesson 8 nationalism. Lesson 8 Nationalism. In 1915, Mahatma Gandhi arrived in India from South Africa. Okay. In 1915, Mahatma Gandhi arrived in India from South Africa. For 20 years, he fought for the civil rights of the Indians. Okay. For 20 years, he fought for the civil rights of the Indians who lived in South Africa. Okay. Who lived in South Africa. He brought a new impulse, that is a desire to act. He brought a new impulse to Indian politics. Gandhiji introduced Satyagraha in India. He perfected the same Satyagraha in South Africa. Okay, that could be followed by men, women, young and old. Men, women, young and old. He worked hard for the poorest people. Okay, he worked hard for the poorest people. So he gained the goodwill of the people easily. Gandhiji adopted non-violent methods to put pressure on the British. In this lesson, we will see how Gandhiji changed the Indian national movement. Okay, changed the Indian national movement. First of all, Gandhiji and mass nationalism. Evolution of Gandhi. Gandhiji was born on 2nd October 1869 in Porbandar. You know, Porbandar is in Gujarat. His father was Kaba Gandhi. His mother was Putali Bai. Kaba Gandhi was the Diwan of Porbandar. Later, he became the Diwan of Rajkot. After the matric examination in 1888, Gandhiji went to England to study law. Okay. After the matric exam in 1888, Gandhiji went to England to study law. After becoming a barrister in June 1891, Gandhiji returned to India. He believed British sense of justice. Okay, After returning to India, Gandhiji tried to become a lawyer in Bombay. Okay, but it was a failure one. During this time, an organization in South Africa asked the services of Gandhiji regarding law. Gandhiji accepted the offer and left for South Africa in April 1893. Gandhiji faced racial discrimination for the first time in South Africa. When he was traveling from Durban to Pretoria, at the Pietermaritzburg railway station. He was physically thrown out of the first class compartment. Indians were treated only as coolies, but Gandhiji was determined to fight. Gandhiji called a meeting of the Indians in the Transvaal and advised them to form an association to express their grievances. He continued to hold such meetings. Indians in the Transvaal had to pay a poll tax of 3 pounds. They could not own land except the areas marked for them. They could not move outdoors after 9 p.m. without permit. He launched a struggle against this unjust laws. Gandhiji was introduced to the work of Tolstoy and John Ruskin. Gandhiji was introduced to the work of Tolstoy and John Ruskin. He was deeply influenced by Tolstoy's book. Okay, deeply influenced by Tolstoy's book named The Kingdom of God is Within You. Tolstoy's book, The Kingdom of God is Within You, and Ruskin's book, Unto This Last. Ruskin's book, Unto This Last, and Thoreau's book, Civil Disobedience. Thoreau's book, Civil Disobedience. Okay, Gandhiji's ideas were formed due to a mixture of Indian and Western thought. Mixture of Indian and Western thought. Gandhiji was deeply influenced by Western thinkers. Deeply influenced by Western thinkers, but he was highly critical of Western civilization. Western civilization and industrialization. He was highly critical of Western civilization and industrialization. Gandhiji was inspired by Ruskin and established a Phoenix settlement. Okay, established a Phoenix settlement in the year 1905. Okay, Phoenix settlement in the year 1905. He started the Tolstoy farm in 1910. Tolstoy farm in 1910. Okay, Tolstoy farm in 1910. Equality, community living, dignity of labor were inculcated in these settlements. Okay, inculcated in these settlements. That is a taught, T-A-U-G-H-D, taught in these settlements. They were training ground for the Satyagrahis. Training ground for the Satyagrahis. Next, we will see Satyagraha as a strategy in South Africa. Satyagraha as a strategy in South Africa. That is plan to achieve something. Strategy means a plan to achieve something. Gandhiji developed Satyagraha as a strategy. Okay, as a strategy. In this, the campaigners went on peaceful marches. In this, the campaigners went on peaceful marches. They presented themselves for arrest in protest against unjust laws. Gandhiji fought for the issues of immigration and racial discrimination. Meetings were held. The registration office of immigrants were picketed. Okay, registration offices of immigrants were picketed. Even when the police let loose violence, no resistance was offered by Satyagrahis. Gandhiji and other leaders were arrested. Indians, mostly indentured laborers. Indentured laborers means contract laborers on the basis of contract. Okay, these indentured laborers changed hawkers. Hawkers means roadside sellers. So continued the struggle. That is, Indians, mostly indentured laborers, changed hawkers, continued the struggle. Finally, by Smuts Gandhi Agreement, Smuts Gandhi Agreement, the poll tax on indentured laborers was abolished. Gandhiji's stay in South Africa was a learning experience for him. After the outbreak of the First World War, Gandhiji returned to India. Okay, after the outbreak of the First World War, Gandhiji returned to India. Next, Gandhiji's early Satyagraha in India. Gandhiji regarded Gopalakrishna Gokhale as his political guru. Okay, as his political guru. On Gokhale's advice only, Gandhiji travelled the length and breadth of the country before interfering into politics. Okay, on Gokhale's advice only, Gandhiji travelled the length and breadth of the country before interfering into politics. So he understood the conditions of the people. One of his journeys in Tamil Nadu, he left his robes. That is, robes means the cloth that is made of long piece. Okay, long piece of cloth. And wear a simple dhoti. Okay, one of his journeys in Tamil Nadu, he left his robes and wear a simple dhoti. Next, Champaran Satyagraha. Okay, next we will see Champaran Satyagraha. Champaran is in Bihar. Tinkatia system. That is one of the exploitative systems. One of the exploitative systems. In Champaran, this Tinkatia system was practiced. Under this exploitative system, the peasants were forced by the European planters, forced by the European planters to cultivate indigo on their land holdings, cultivate indigo on their land holdings. By the end of the 19th century, German synthetic dyes forced the indigo out of market. Forced the indigo out of market. The European planters of Chamberan enhanced the rent and collected illegal dues as a price for the release of cultivators. Enhanced the rent and collected illegal dues as a price for the release of cultivators. So the resistance started. Rajkumar Shukla, an agriculturist from Chamberan. Rajkumar Shukla was an agriculturist from Chamberan, suffered the hardships of the system. He asked Gandhi to visit Chamberan. On reaching Chamberan, Gandhiji was asked by the police to leave immediately. Gandhiji refused. So he was summoned for trial. The news spread like a forest fire. Thousands of people gathered the place in support of Gandhi. Gandhiji said the country thus had its first object lesson in civil disobedience. Gandhiji said the country thus had its first object lesson in civil disobedience. Gandhiji was assisted by two important personalities. First one, Braj Kishore Prasad, he was a lawyer. Second one, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who became the first president of independent India. So first person, Braj Kishore Prasad. Second one, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Finally, the Lieutenant Governor formed a committee. Gandhiji became the member of this committee. This committee recommended the abolition of Tinkadia system, that is one of the exploitative systems. Thus, the oppression of the peasants by the indigo planters came to an end. Oppression of the peasants by the indigo planters came to an end. After the success of Chamberan Satyagraha, the Ahmedabad mill strike of 1918 and Kheda Satyagraha of 1918 helped Gandhiji to establish himself as a leader of a mass struggle. Gandhiji showed his talent in mobilize the common people across the country. Next, Rowlatt Satyagraha and Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Rowlatt Satyagraha and Jallianwala Bagh massacre. The Government of India Act of 1919 caused disappointment because it did not transfer real power to the Indians. The government began to enforce the extension of wartime restrictions. The Rowlatt Act provided excess police powers and arrest without warrant. Gandhiji called it a black act. So, Rowlatt Act, that was a black act according to our Gandhi. Gandhiji opposed this Rowlatt Act. He called for a nationwide satyagraha on 6th April 1919. It was to be non-violent struggle with fasting and prayer. It was considered as the earliest anti-colonial struggle spread across the country. The anti-Rowlatt protest was intense in Punjab, particularly in Amritsar and Lahore. Gandhiji was arrested and prevented from visiting Punjab. On April 9th, two prominent leaders, Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal were arrested. Next, General Dyer's brutality, great cruelty. Brutality means great cruelty. On 13th April 1919, a public meeting was arranged at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. 13th April 1919, a public meeting was arranged at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. This meeting was arranged in Baishakhi Day. That is the spring harvest festival of Sikhs. Baikoshi, that is the spring harvest festival of Sikhs. SIKHS 6. All the villagers were assembled there. All the villagers were assembled there. General Reginald Dyer surrounded the place with his troops. The only entrance surrounded by high walls are blocked. The only entrance surrounded by the high walls are blocked. Firing took place without any warning. Okay, without any warning. The firing lasted for 10 minutes. The firing lasted for 10 minutes. According to official report, 379 were killed. More than 1,000 were injured. But unofficially, more than 1,000 people passed away. Okay. After this incident, martial law was declared. Martial law was declared. Many people in Punjab, especially Amritsar, were flogged. Flogged means hitting with a stick. Hitting with a stick, flogged, and forced to crawl on the streets. CRAWL, crawl on the street. This incident angered the Indians. Rabindranath Tagore returned his knighthood. He got this knighthood from the British government for his achievement. Understand? For his achievement in the country. Next, Gandhiji returned his Kaisari Hind medal. Gandhiji returned. Next, we will see Khilafat movement. Okay, Khilafat movement. The First World War came to an end in the year 1918. The Caliph of Turkey was treated harshly. A movement was started to support the Turkish Caliph. That is Khilafat movement. This movement was led by Ali brothers, Maulana Muhammad Ali and Maulana Shaukat Ali. Gandhiji supported this movement because he thought that it is an opportunity to unite Hindus and Muslims. The All India Khilafat Conference was held at Delhi in November 1919. Gandhiji presided over this conference. Gandhiji supported Shaukat Ali's proposal of 3 national slogans. Okay, Gandhiji supported Shaukat Ali's proposal of 3 national slogans. See the 3 national slogans. First one, Allahu Akbar. Okay, Allahu Akbar. Second one, Bande Mataram. And the third one is Hindu Muslim ki Jai. So, Allahu Akbar, Bande Mataram, Hindu Muslim ki Jai. The Khilafat Committee meeting was held at Allahabad on June 1920. Okay, at Allahabad on June 1920. This Khilafat Committee accepted Gandhiji's non-violent and non-cooperative programs. Non-cooperation was to begin on August 1920. Next, we are going to see non-cooperation movement and its fallout. The Indian National Congress approved the non-cooperation movement in a special session. Held at Calcutta on September 1920. It was passed in the Nagpur session held on December 1920 under the chairmanship of Salem C. Vijayaraghava Charya. The program of the non-cooperation movement. Now we will see the programs of the non-cooperation movement. First one, surrender of all titles and honors and honorary offices. Okay, surrender of all titles of honors and honorary offices. Second one, non-participation in government functions. So, should not participate in the government functions. Third one, suspension of a practice by lawyers and settlement of court disputes by private arbitration. Okay, suspension of a practice by lawyers and settlement of court disputes by private arbitration. Fourth one, boycott of government schools by children and parents. Fifth one, boycott of legislature created under the 1919 Act. Sixth one, non-participation in government parties. non-participation in government parties and other official functions. Okay, other official functions. Refusal to accept any civil or military post. This is seventh one. Refusal to accept any civil or military post. Eighth one. Boycott of foreign goods and spreading the doctrine of Swadeshi. Okay, boycott of foreign goods and spreading the doctrine of Swadeshi. Okay, these are the programs of non-cooperation movement. Okay, with this I finished today's session. I'll meet you in the next session with the next heading, no tax campaign and Chauri Chaura incident. Okay, no tax campaign and Chauri Chaura incident. Okay, bye children, thank you.